Well, have you heard the news? The amazing news? They're going to release the files. They're going to release the Epstein files. Nobody's against it anymore. Even Donald Trump has come out in favor of releasing the files. It's like a miracle. Mike Johnson's going to schedule a vote this week, I think on Wednesday. And Trump is telling all the Republicans to get behind it, get behind this bill to release the files. It's amazing, right? Like the world has just changed so much in the last 24 hours. Like everything's going to be good now, right? Well, let's find out. All right. From the BBC, I've decided from now on, I'm only going to quote from sources that Trump is suing. If he's not suing you, I don't trust you. Okay. So from the BBC, US President Donald Trump has urged lawmakers in his own party to vote to release files relating to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. It's unbelievable, right? Trump wrote on Sunday night that Republicans in the House of Representatives should do so because we have nothing to hide. It's kind of what I've been saying all along. If you got nothing to hide, why are you hiding? You know, they've been hiding for a long time, right? They've been doing everything in their power to suppress these files from ever becoming public. And now they're all for it. They changed their mind overnight. It's a miracle. Potentially dozens of Republicans have now signaled they are willing to break ranks and vote in favor of a bill that would compel the US government to publish all its documents on Epstein. So, of course, Donald Trump comes out last night and says, hey, I'm all for it. In fact, get in there. All of you guys vote for it. Everybody vote for it now. Let's pass this bill. And of course, he'll come out later and say, I supported the passage of this bill. I supported the release of the Epstein files. But not so fast, not so fast, not so fast. Of course, we know leopards don't change spots, and certainly not that suddenly, literally overnight. But what do they have up their sleeves? What do you think they have up their sleeves? I think they have a very good plan, and here it is from Bloomberg. The FBI redacted Trump's name in the Epstein files. Of course, they're going to release them, but not only will his name be redacted, I'm sure all his buddies' names will be redacted. Anybody he wants to protect will be redacted. Ghislaine Maxwell will probably now be redacted. Can you imagine? They're going to redact her, I bet you, because she's on Team Trump now. How can they not? How can they keep her in? She might turn against them later, right? So this is from a guy who's a FOIA expert, Freedom of Information Act expert, Jason Leopold, writing in Bloomberg. I will not read the whole story. Don't want to bog you down on all these details. Just get to the main parts, right? So he talked about all the history of these files and what's happened to them this year, and how Trump was trying to get them cleaned, get his name out of everything. So he's halfway through that story now, and he says, what happened next kicked off a new phase in the Epstein saga. He says, as I reported in the March 28th edition of FOIA Files, which is something on Bloomberg, he says Patel directed FBI special agents from New York and Washington field offices to join the Bureau's FOIA employees at its sprawling Central Records complex in Winchester, Virginia, and another building a few miles away. They were instructed to search for, and we heard this story when it came out, so this isn't new news, but it is totally integral to the story now. Okay, so all these FBI agents, so 1,000 of them, were instructed to search for and review every single Epstein-related document and determine what could be released. That included a mountain of material accumulated by the FBI over nearly 2 decades, including grand jury testimony, prosecutors' case files, as well as tens of thousands of pages of the Bureau's own investigative files on Epstein. It was a Herculean task that involved as many as 1,000 FBI agents and other personnel pulling all-nighters while pouring through more than 100,000 documents. Amazing, right? So they put all this effort. These FBI agents, they didn't have anything better to do, thankfully, because Trump had sent the army out and the National Guard to, fight crime on the streets, so they didn't have to worry about that anymore. Wait, that's not what they do. Wait, the FBI doesn't do local crime, right? Yeah, right. Well, anyway, I guess whatever they were doing, federal crimes, things across state lines, things that involve foreign countries and espionage and all that. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Trump is president now. All right. So here's the main thing of this. While reviewing the Epstein files, FBI personnel identified numerous references to Trump in the documents. Hear that? Numerous references to Trump in the documents. Uh, Dozens of other high profile public figures also appeared, the people said. The appearance of Trump's name or others in the Epstein files is not evidence of a crime or even a suggestion of wrongdoing. That's true. Just because your name appears doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. But there were tons of appearances of Trump's name, and we already know from what's come out last week that they do not paint him in the most positive light, to say the least. In preparation for potential public release, the documents then went to a unit of FOIA officers who applied redactions in accordance with the 9 exemptions. So there's exemptions that FOIA law gives for redacting names. And the people familiar with the matter said that Trump's name, along with other high profile individuals, was blacked out because he was a private citizen when the federal investigation of Epstein was launched in 2006. Right. I thought that was the point of releasing the files, though, right? To find out who the perpetrators were, and they were all private citizens. I mean, as far as I know, I don't think any of them were president at the time. So, of course, they were private citizens. That's what the MAGA base has been screaming about. We want to know who did these things, who were the perpetrators. And if Trump's a perpetrator, I'm sure, if you're an honest and decent and moral person who actually really cares about this stuff like you say you do, I'm sure you'd want to know that too, right? If there were high level Republicans in there, you MAGA people would surely want to know that, right? You say you're Christians, a lot of you, most of you. And we know the Bible stands for truth, tells us to tell the truth, tells us to seek the truth, tells us to seek justice, which means being fair to both sides. If Democrats are guilty, let's bring them out and show who they are and put them out there. But as a Christian, especially as a Christian MAGA supporter, you would also have to say that you're not biased and you want the wrongdoing, you want the sin, you want the crimes to come out, no matter who committed them, right? Even if people on your side committed them, you should want that to come out, right? So you do, I'm sure, right? Don't you? I don't know. I mean, the Trump people, when Biden was president, they wanted this to come out because they thought it was all Democrats. And then when Trump became president, to their credit, at least a few months back, they still said they wanted it to come out. But it seems as we get farther and farther into it, and as Trump resists it more and more and says he doesn't want them to come out, they start thinking, wait, maybe it implicates him. So maybe we shouldn't protest or push so strongly for their release because it could hurt our guy, right? So, I mean, it's looking to me like they literally only wanted it to come out to hurt Democrats. But if Republicans are involved, they don't want that to come out, which makes you wonder if the whole point of this is to clear the swamp and the swamp is made up of corrupt, dishonest people. Don't you want to clear it even if they came from your own party? Don't you? Do you really want to clear the swamp or not? That is the question. That is the question. So Trump's going to push to release these files, and then his name's going to be redacted. And there's one other thing. I forget who said this. Maybe it was Glenn Kirshner or somebody like that, or Legal AF. Anyway, they had a really good point. Trump had been pushing for Pam Bondi last week. He started pushing her to investigate Democrats. So, is this what you want, Republicans? Seriously? You only want to clear out the swamp on the Democrat side and you want to leave it swampy on your side? That's really what you want? Seriously? I mean, I don't find that hard to believe, but to be honest, I find it shocking and disgusting because you guys have been out there for years saying you're the righteous ones. You just want truth to come out. And now you're not pushing for it anymore. I mean, Megyn Kelly, for crying out loud, on her show last week saying, oh, well, Epstein just raped, 15-year-olds, but it's not like he was raping 5-year-olds. Come on. Seriously? That's what MAGA is turning into? MAGA is turning into the big swamp now. So I would like to ask the Christian MAGA supporters to stand up to this, look around you, see what your fellow MAGA supporters are doing by not continuing to push for this release and being willing to accept the dishonesty of the way it's going to be released, with names redacted, not of victims, but also of perpetrators. Okay, that's not what we were asking for. You got to stand up to this. And the Christian MAGA supporters, you guys got to look around and say, you know what? This movement isn't what I thought it was. It's not honest. It's not honoring to Christ. And I want out of it. It's not worth it. God never asked us to compromise for some greater political goal. In fact, he didn't even really ask us to pursue any particular political goals. Okay, so that's done. That's over. No more compromise with sin. All right, no more compromise with corruption. Let's be done with this group, this mess. But anyway, sorry, I meant to get back to what I was going to say. The other strategy is, he came out last week and asked Pam Bondi to investigate Democrats. Sorry, I got sidetracked with all that. But yeah, he asked her to investigate the Democrats. So what happens during a federal investigation? When they come out and say, well, now we passed a bill requiring you to release the files, they're going to say, sorry, they can't be released right now because it's under federal investigation. And we don't release files when they're under federal investigation. Problem solved for Trump. Hey, he can say, I did the right thing. Finally, he can say, I did the right thing. I supported the release. I told my people to vote for the release. They did. And, oh, well, sorry, they couldn't be released because they were under federal investigation. And if they are ever released, my name won't be in them anymore. Sweet, right? He wins on all sides. All he needs is a group of mind-numbed, brain-dead, robotic followers who will accept anything he says. But I want to speak to the Christians in the MAGA base and just say, that's not who we are as Christians. We're not robotic followers of any man, right? We're only followers of Christ. We follow Christ wherever he leads, but we don't follow any other person wherever they lead. Okay? This is all going to a bad place. So say stop. Enough is enough. And let's put an end to this, okay? Let's shut it down. It's time to shut it down. That's my message. All right. Hey, I appreciate you listening, and I will see you soon. Take care.